Thursday, November the 2nd, 2017, to you. Just like it had happened many times before, urgent events preempted important matters. A few hours ago, Venezuela's President Mr. Nicolás Maduro announced plans to restructure and to refinance Venezuela's burgeoning foreign debt. Also, Mr. Maduro said that state-owned PDVSA oil company would honor its $1.1 billion principal payment, but that announcement was overshadowed by another presidential declaration related to external debt. I do not speak Venezuelan. I do not know what Mr. Maduro was meaning when he announced that the debt would be restructured and refinanced. The former means to alter the terms of the debt agreements, whereas the latter is merely restricted to replace old loans with new ones. The problem is that investors do not trust in a debtor which increased its debt by more than 3 times. In 1999, Venezuela owed $43 billion. Nowadays, it is estimated that the country owes around $150 billion. The lack of reliable information on debt certainly does not assuage debt holders. To make things even more interesting, Mr. Maduro put Vice President Mr. Tarek al-Aissami in charge of negotiations, along with being a Chavista zealot and somewhat crass. Mr. al-Aissami was sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department for his connections with drug lords and Middle Eastern terrorists. If you want to sit before him at the negotiation table, then good luck. There is a consensus worldwide that Venezuela's default is too likely. Current credit, the default swap traders placed its implied probability at 97% in the next 5 years. Interestingly enough, that opinion is not only shared by Reuters or Bloomberg, but also by the South China Morning Post. China was seen by the Chavismo as an important ally. Politically speaking, Venezuela's eventual default has a lot to do with Mr. Maduro's recent totalitarian moves. Chavista regime had cut spending on food and medicines so as to honor its debts. Perhaps given how demoralized the opposition is now, and so it cannot pose a threat to the regime's continuity, Mr. Maduro can finally default without facing serious consequences. Venezuelans' children will inherit a long-standing legacy from the Chavismo anyway. In one word, debts. The world is still on.